There. Hey guys, Trigger Points here with Fast Track owner Elijah. Thank you for coming on the show.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Today we're going to talk to our guest about how you're successful and how you got your start, and then we're going to talk a little bit about our loan program.
That'd be great.
So Elijah, how long you been in this industry?
10 years.
10. And how did you get your start?
Well, it's kind of unique for my path. I was looking around, wanted to do something in real estate or the stock market, and I was talking to a buddy. Just so happened, while I was talking to the buddy about my past and what I had done, we were at an event that was a group event at our church, and Tom Perry was overhearing the conversation.
Oh, wow.
And he was looking to expand his company and work himself into a lesser active role in the business so he could do more investing at the time.
So he was original owner of Fast
So he was
Track.
original owner of Fast Track. So he comes up to me at this event and said, "Hey, I heard you talking. You've done management? Yeah. You've done sales? Yeah. How many years? Whatever, 8 years by that time of that. So I guess that would be more like 18 to almost 20 years of sales at this point in my background.
You don't look that old.
I'm 41.
No way.
Come on.
No way. Come on now.
Yeah. So we have this, and he says, I kind of want to replace myself, what I'm doing, so I can do active more investing. And so that was the start of it, man. I got to shadow him for about a month and a half, drive him around basically in his car and listen to his phone calls and hear about. It was one of the best ways you can learn about the industry is just with somebody who's active in it, just right there every day. And then I took over the sales department, started growing that, doing some events, worked on the quick estimating classes before it was the app.
Okay.
On the quick estimating thing, I weighed in on, at that time, the tool we had that Tom helped develop. I weighed in on some upgrades to our proprietary software that we use when we walk through the property.
Awesome.
And now we've even improved that and completely redone it. But so these are just things along the way.
Well, that's absolutely awesome and amazing. So let me ask you a question though. Was it always called Fast Track Remodeling?
It was Fast Track Roofing and Remodeling.
Okay.
And then we did when we changed ownership from Tom, we decided to make a name change to start fresh. But as far as the crews, the teams, the office help, the people who were managing, everybody stayed the same.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but the name did change from Fast Track Roofing. Funny thing too. I don't think when Tom was first going after it that the Fast Track Remodeling was an available website.
Oh, wow.
By the time we made the shift, it was available.
Hey, it worked out perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Worked out perfect.
Yeah.
So tell, for the people that are watching this or live or watching this as it's recorded, kind of tell people what Fast Track does. I mean, give a brief overview, and then we'll kind of delve into it a little bit deeper.
Sure. So Fast Track primarily is a remodeling company on single-family homes for investors as its primary base. And then we've now recently opened up to helping investors that are wanting to either move into the home afterward or referrals to people that aren't even technically investors, but are looking to have some work done on their home.
So now I did not know that.
Yes, this is a new thing. It's semi-pilot program, but what it is, the two key things that have made our business successful are still intact. One, the house has to be vacant.
Okay.
Number two, we still work among the selections that we're using with maybe one or two small custom tweaks. But for the most part, we know the availability of the product, we know its viability, we know the pricing. That's why we can do on-site bids most of the time, is because we know what we're going to be putting in for the most part. And investors then typically they're not going to be living in the home. So hey, let's get it proven. Let's get what's going. Let's get what's hot right now. They're not thinking in terms of their own personal taste. And if you give people too many options, we found it can really stall the process quite a bit. So in the process of doing this pilot program of retail, we do limit the amount of selections people can get.
Well, kind of like a cookie cutter house.
Absolutely.
Which, I mean, they're in every neighborhood. I mean, y'all are doing the same concept. Lennar, Perry, all them. I mean, they give you limited options within a model home to choose from. And so, I mean, it works.
Yeah, it's been working, and we've had a lot of good success with it. People have been very happy. In fact, the other day, it just so happened that particular week, we were working on about 40% of what we were working on was for end users. And that's never been our thing. And so then, had a couple other investors close on properties and brought it back to our norm. But it's been neat to work with folks, referrals, friends of investors, even investors on their personal homes, and just to see them be excited about the process.
Well, awesome. Yeah. Awesome. I thought our mic was on, but I guess it's not on. I don't know what's going on with that. But anyways, so let's ask a couple of other questions here. What is your limit? Like, what is your ARV or your I guess total value?
Yeah, it's fine. Sometimes that varies depending on the price of the land. If you had like a 2 or 3 acre place, the value of that property would be, but something that we could probably work around on.
Hope that everybody was able to hear us. So you mentioned something just a minute ago about $300,000, $400,000 ARV, correct?
No, this would be like let's say that if it gets over 700,000, then just to help people understand.
Okay,
so if it gets over 700,000 on the ARV, it's nice if we've worked with the person before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you mentioned something also about opening up a wall. Tell us a little bit about that, because a lot of interesting things happen. You can go in there and bid, and a lot of interesting things happen once you get on the other side. Yeah,
we just had this happen at a house in the Westbury area where you would have thought, obviously, in the kitchen and breakfast, like normal, the joists were running this way into some sort of beam. And when we opened it up, it turned out that even though it was 24 feet, all of the ceiling joists were running the 24-foot length. So we were getting the engineer out there anyway, but he went out prior to us opening everything up just to give his first mention, and then once we opened it up and saw that, he just went back out. But it was really interesting. So in one area we were able to save a little bit of money because we didn't have to do the fuller beam to replace the one. But then in another area in the entry where you would have thought they would have been running one way, like they are a lot of times, where the entry and living areas are running the same, and so that entry wall is not usually load bearing.
Yes.
In this case, they stopped. They went this way and stopped right on it, and so we had to add a little something there. Yeah. So it's a little unknown when you open up the walls occasionally what that framing is going to look like, and you don't want to tear into walls that you don't own the property on yet, so you don't know that all the time on a 2-story home. On a 1-story, you could get up in the attic typically and see, but so that can happen. Sometimes some termite damage can happen. Occasionally there's pipes that, so like one thing, the gas line was coming in a weird angle, so we had to move that over where we couldn't see that until we opened it up. But these are minimal costs, and you just have to say, is the plan worth it? Yes, the plan's worth it. Let's move forward.
Well, so here's another interesting thing that a lot of people don't realize. When you open a wall, there's thousands of things. Well, not thousands, but there's hundreds of things that could go wrong. And you've got to be prepared for that. And having somebody like you going in and mitigating those risks is...
Yeah, well, and I've seen it done bad.
Yeah.
I've seen people try to put a column as a beam support on a home and in a particular spread that was not right, as like a 4x4 as opposed to doing 2x12s with that's laminated or some sort of beam. And those jobs were not permitted typically, and some folks wonder, well, hey, I didn't touch it. Well, if it's been done prior to you entering into the home, a lot of times you don't get called out on it, but there is the ability for that inspector to say, no, you're doing a lot in this home. How do I know you didn't do that?
Yeah.
if it's done recently, right? So it's just important to know how to do it right. It's important to know what the cost delta may be if you're going to have to change something that was done previous to you buying it. And we can help with those things as a worst case kind of scenario. Again, these are not high dollar amounts, but when you're working with investors, I'll say this, they become kind of, typically they become the type that once they start the job, and this is probably you, when you start the job, you're looking at the amount that the bid's going to take, and then every dollar that gets spent as an unknown from that point on is almost like that money's being taken from you. And that's just that feeling that it feels like, right? And that's okay, that feeling. But in the process, sometimes people do make different decisions occasionally than they would if they just knew, hey, that's part of the job. It's just going to need to happen. And so we try to be there as the non-emotional helper. Hey, let's get back to the plan. Is it still going to work? And most of the time, the answer is yes, it's still going to work. Let's move forward. Yeah.
Well, I've recommended y'all over my 6 years of being here. I've recommended y'all, and everybody I've ever said has always come back and said that was the best thing I could have done. The best, because y'all kind of take the bricks out of it, right?
Yeah, we take the headaches away from. There are headaches in this industry. We just take them.
Yeah.
And we found out how to navigate them and handle them really well. So it doesn't even get to us as much because we know how to process it really, really good. You have a process for everything.
Yeah.
And the folks that are maybe not as used to that, they think, oh, no, this is a big deal. It's a terrible deal. Well, yeah, no, that's something to consider, but it's not. I mean, foundation issues, right? Oh, no, there's foundation. Oh, no. But then you can get a foundation company out. You can have it fixed. Everything can be fixed. And these are the things that really is helpful, I would say, when people are looking at, especially if they're new, they haven't done a lot. Just being with people who've done thousands. Well, we've almost done 2,000 homes now for investors. And just
I'm trying to catch up to us.
Come on. And that experience is just, we are steady. Compared to we don't blip all over the place when something goes wrong. We know it's going to be fine. We're going to take care of it. And I can guarantee only one thing, not that something might not happen along the way, but that we can make it right.
Yeah.
No matter what.
So one thing in real estate, and I don't know if you've watched this podcast before, but me and Jason Bible, we've talked about it on his radio show and on this podcast. There's one thing about real estate that you can guarantee. You can work your way out of it.
Yes, absolutely.
Stock market crashes, you lose all your money. Guess what? You can't work your way out of that unless you just go make more money and invest it.
Right.
Anything else, car sales, I don't know what else you would compare it to, but real estate
is flexible.
It's flexible. If you mess up a little bit, you can eventually get your money back out of the real estate.
And you have more control over that if you're considering the market in that sense. I mean, you have some of the decision making different than other investments, which is great, but it also scares people.
It does.
That they're the ones making those decisions. And so it's good to partner with people like you that have been in the industry for so long, and partner with people like us and other realtors out there that are steady, as we mentioned, so that you don't make a wrong decision because you think one thing is bigger than it is.
And guys, if y'all are watching this podcast at any point in time, the main thing that I have seen over my small career, and he's been doing this a lot longer, is contractors. It's dangerous getting the wrong contractor. I'll give you for instance. I had a guy. I told him to use Fast Track. I did. This is a 100% true story. I said, you're a new investor. You should use Fast Track. This is going to be too big of a remodel for you. It was like a $60,000, $70,000 remodel. I think you even bidded it at a little bit higher, but there's a cost. And he said, no, that cost is too high. And I said, okay, that's fine. It's totally up to you, but I'm advising you differently. You need to do this. And he said, no. He literally called me back 2 years later. We were still in the loan. He hasn't finished the rehab yet, and called me back and said, Rob, I'm about to finish it. I've gone through 3 contractors, 3. They have taken all my money, all 3 of them. And I should have just listened to you the first time, because I would have been done with this project already back on the
absolutely. That's the thing.
I would have been. Guys, you got to understand there's a cost to doing business for anything. But if you can say, I'm not going to say you're more expensive than a general contractor, because you're not.
when you consider everything, we're closer, but we are a little on the front end by what we account for more things typically on the front end, so you don't have as many unknowns at the end because we try to. But then we also are a little bit higher priced than others. Even our overhead is a little bit more because we got more teams working in conjunction with each other, as opposed to the same guy doing the bid is the same guy doing the managing of the crews.
But you can offset that, and this is what I tell all my. You can offset that by your hold time.
Right.
If you get a contractor that you don't trust and you don't know and you're new to this, fast track is the way to go, because you can guarantee that they're going to give you a product that's going to be sound. It's as long as you let them do their job, and once they're done, they hand you back the keys and say, hey, you either go refi it or sell it.
And you can be involved as much as you want to be in that. You can take the fun parts, let the headache go. Let people who've done it a lot take the headache. That's how we think about it.
Well, and I'm telling you, it's fun to close on a property.
Absolutely.
It's fun to get those keys in your hand. It's fun to get it funded because you're excited.
Don't go every day, because it's fun to see the progress a little bit. So don't go every day, but if you go like every week or something, it's fun to see the progress on the home.
It is. Too. I mean, hell, I built a home back 3 years ago. And the worst thing I could have done was live in the neighborhood that I was building the home in, because I went to see it every day, and there'd be days that there was no progress, and I was like, they haven't done nothing to my house. But literally they had, I just couldn't see it.
You weren't there and you couldn't see it.
I couldn't see it.
Some things have to happen before the
Yes. Yeah. The inspections have to happen, other things like that. So I mean, the things did happen, but I just couldn't see it. So that you bring up a very valid point. At some point in time, you got to just let go a little bit and say, hey, I'm going to trust somebody that's been in the industry for, you said how long now? 10
years.
And Fast Track's been around?
12, I think.
12. Okay. So a 12-year company that has outstanding reviews by all their clients, all of them. I've never had one person come back and say Fast Track is not a decent company. That's the honest to goodness truth. So you got your start. What did you do prior to running Fast Track?
Lots of different sales things. I mean, car sales. I worked at an eye doctor. I did outside sales. I worked as a manager at a wholesale plant nursery. I was a grower.
Michael, you and Michael worked together.
Mike and I, we were at a wholesale plant nursery. That's when I first moved here in 2002 to Texas. And then prior to that, I was running a bowling alley. So this was, back when I was 17, 18.
It's, it's so interesting to hear how everybody got their start in this industry. I was in the Army, and I know you know that. And my career was going to take me, I had consulted with Johnny. I had consulted with my sister. My dad always taught us, do your own thing. Don't rely on family to make your way. He said, and not meaning him, he meant, no handouts,
Right.
Always try to forge your own destiny and forge your own path. It's an interesting story. We have plenty of time, but I came down here prior to a deployment. And I said, we all went out, and they're like, hey, you're getting ready to retire, blah, blah. I had about 3 years left. I said, yeah, getting ready to retire. And Johnny was listening. We were all drinking a couple of beers, and they said, what's your plan to do? I was like, well, I'm thinking about law enforcement, just natural progression, military, law enforcement, natural. Johnny looked at me, why the hell you want to do that? I'm like, well, what do you mean? He's like, you don't need to do that. I don't like cops. I was like, well, Johnny, I don't think anybody likes cops. He's like, well, I don't want to not like you. I said, well, we were having a couple of drinks. It was funny. Anyways, long story short, we get in to the car, and we start driving towards to the concert. And I said, well, Johnny, what would you come down here? We'll get you started in real estate. You have a lot more fun and blah, blah, blah. And I took it back home and thought on it. And then finally, I was about a year out. And I called Johnny. I said, you still serious about me coming to Houston and doing real estate? And he's like, yeah, come on now. Johnny's always, he's so easygoing. Yeah, we'll get you started.
There's a lot of energy.
He is. And I was like, okay. So at that point in time, I gave up the aspiration of law enforcement, and my path was set to come here, and the rest is history. I mean, there's some, bumps in the road, but that's kind of how that started. So everybody's got a unique start. Everybody had to start from somewhere. But I guess my question to you is, when you got your start in this,
I can tell you the moment it happened.
Okay.
So I was working for the eye doctor at the time, and I had gone as far as I could go. The people who prep you, set you up, work you through the machines, get everything done, put the drops in your eyes, all that stuff, help you with the contacts, whatever it may be, everything except what the doctor does, right?
Yes.
So that's the highest you could ever be. And not knowing really, in soul searching what I wanted to do. I think when you don't know what to do, sometimes you think about being closer to family, because that seems to be that more comfortable place while you're soul searching. And I was married and had one kid at the time. I have 4 now.
Oh.
And so we were just wondering, and I actually quit. I quit that job. I quit the job to go, and we were going to move to California. And then my wife and I, we were just not settled and not at peace, and couldn't figure out why. And so I remember going back to the eye doctor at the time saying, you know what, I think I jumped the gun on that. He said, no, he said to me first, he said, if you wanted to stay, I would keep you on. I said, man, I'm so glad to hear you say that, because I don't know what I'm doing. And so then I just did some soul searching. And as a Christian myself, I just was doing some praying, and I was thinking, what is it that I want to do? And the 2 things came up, and it was in that moment that I realized I could just go run out and do it, or I could just sit in a moment with knowing what I want to do, either real estate or stock market at the time, and just see about how to progress. Okay. So I started getting my real estate license, the only thing that I knew to do, just to get tutored, so to speak, into the industry that way. And then I was talking to my buddy, and that's when I was just starting vocalizing it. This is a very important thing for most people. Once you kind of have that, I've heard from Jack Canfield, I think is the guy who said that you have more of a chance of doing it if you talk about it with people, right? So I started talking to I love this. Yeah, I started talking to people about it. And in the midst of talking to somebody about it, the right person overheard.
Well, I mean, and you have to have those conversations.
Right.
You have to network. I don't know if you know who Grant Cardone is. He tells the more access you get to people, the more opportunities you will have. There's thousands of networking. Well, there was pre-COVID. There was hundreds of networking events you could go to. You could go to one a night if you wanted to.
Absolutely right.
We're starting to get back to that. The opportunity to go out there and talk to these people and just introduce yourself. Say, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. There's so many people that go to these networking events and don't even talk to anybody. They never even say one word.
No, and they may be scared or nervous, but I think you got to keep your plan in front of you. And then if you don't have anything else to talk about, ask people what their plans are.
Yeah.
Wait for them, and then you can speak if you're wondering about that. Just let them. People feel way more comfortable, I believe, when they feel like the other person cares about what they say. But what's that slogan, right? People don't care about what you know or what you say unless you care about what they are talking about first. So just ask them questions first. It's a great way to get into it. But fun little fact. So I'm just an employee at Fast Track, right? I'm running the sales team. I'm running the marketing team. I feel like I'm doing a good job. And so I'm going to go to Tom and I'm going to ask him for a percentage of the company, right? So I go up to him and I say, hey, Tom, I want to talk to you. And he says, okay, wait. Hey, by the way, he says, did you know we were going to have a meeting on Thursday at lunch? I said, no, I didn't know that. He said, yeah, it's about the future of the company. It's like, okay. He said, what do you want to talk about? I said, well, wait. I'm not going to talk about what I want to talk about. I want to hear what you have to say first, right?
Yeah.
So we show up at the meeting. I was thinking, maybe ask him for 5% or something like that. And we show up at the meeting. And he said, look, guys, to his brother at the time, and I were running the company for him. And he says, I want to do what I'm doing in real estate. I feel like my time's better spent there, and I'm distracted over here. And he said, I'd like to give y'all the company.
Just give it.
Yeah. So I want to give you all the company.
That's a blessing.
And in that moment, he did so much for me in that moment. But I like to say this part because I think it challenges us in our thinking. My first thought wasn't, what? Or, oh my God, or that's more than 5%. I was going to ask for. That wasn't my first thought. My first thought was, I want to give away a company. That sounds amazing. In that moment, where he was in his life was not where I was in my life, but it's almost like the thin layer between the two, there was no barriers. Like I got to see for a moment what it would have been like to be in that position. I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. I want to give away a company.
That is awesome. I mean, that I've never heard that story, and I've seen you at hundreds of events. We've talked several
times. This may
be
the first time it's ever been recorded, actually, this story.
Well,
on Trigger Points.
Hey, on Trigger Points. Hey, we have a breaking news. A first breaking news from you heard it here on Trigger Points first. How Fast Track became Elijah's. It was given away in a moment.
And so, I mean, there's stuff that he invested and things we gave back and whatever. But man, I didn't have to come out of pocket. That is what I'm saying.
And that right there.
That's gift. That's a gift.
That's a gift. That's a gift. And I'm a failed Christian. I am a Christian, but I fail every day. I try to do the best I can.
You get back up.
You get back up. I would say everybody or everything is put into your path by God's will. And I posted something the other day. It was on Facebook. I said I asked for strength, and He gave me difficult times to make me stronger. And it was other things to that as well, but it makes sense.
And I think the choices we have are key in the midst of that, because the wills have to align, right? So like I had to, instead of trying to run away back to mommy and daddy in California, or what I thought was my own plan, I had to listen to this unsettled feeling I had. Be like, oh, that doesn't seem right. That doesn't sound right. Why am I running away? And then settle down. Well, what is it that I want in that moment? And the moment that I felt like I was free to leave at that point, I didn't just run to what I didn't understand. I made a plan at that point. I think that's what some people, if you get too frustrated, you want to run away.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So you gotta work on your temper. You gotta work on, you gotta work on your temperament so that you don't get overly frustrated, so when the opportunity comes, you have to leave. Because in that moment, it wouldn't have been the time for me to run away. It was time for me to get ready to run, but to run towards something. And I needed to know what that was. And I had to have a plan. Sprint towards something. I had to actually have a direction. And that's where I felt so much at peace in knowing that I could have left at that point and it had been okay, but not leaving until I was ready.
It's interesting that happened to you, because it's been similar with me. In my life and my journey, that I try to motivate people in any way that I can, because I know it's frustrating. I know the change is frustrating. Alex, he centers me on a lot of things, because he understands how to do that. He's a good friend, great friend. I can't say enough things about him. Ehab, I don't know if you've ever met Ehab. He is a good friend of mine as well, and he gets. There are frustrating times in anything you do in this industry, or even in life.
In general, right?
You can wake up and have a great plan, and that plan gets shot 1,000 holes in it before you even get started. You have to regroup. You have to take some deep breaths, and you have to say, you know what? I'm gonna regroup. I'm gonna move forward, and I'm gonna have a better plan to reconcile these issues.
Speaking about aligning wills that we talked about before, I think it's important too, whenever you make a plan, you don't just talk about it, but you write it down, and you write it down in chunks. I know Tom Berry is somebody who's done a really good job at talking about like a 5-year chunking it down, and I learned a lot from him on that. And so when I have this plan, when you chunk it down, you automatically allow the type A personalities and type B personalities to align in that moment.
Yes.
Because, and when I mean type A, I don't know all of what that means. I just mean people who make quick decisions typically because of their passion and they know what they want. Internally, usually are guided. And then you have type Bs who usually want to see some more information and they want to have a little bit of an understanding before they just move out there. It's not just.
I'm a type A.
Yeah, I'm type A as well. And so, but I'm also visionary.
I wouldn't know.
See, because I connect. Here's what's interesting. I'm type A in that in my vision, I don't think about timelines.
Really?
So I get passionate about what my vision is. And the way I come across to people is like, B. It has to, okay, the way I come across people when I'm expressing is type A. But when it comes out, I actually want to sit down and plan it. So I'm more type B in my practice, But people see me when I'm vision casting as type A because it's like, what is he saying? Is he saying he wants to do it right now? It's like, no. What I'm saying is I have no timeline on my idea, but I want you to know where we're headed. Now let's go ahead and talk about the details. And I don't mind spending a lot of time on that.
Well, I would have definitely thought you were type B.
And we haven't done a ton of vision casting combos, so it's,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I see what you mean. Yeah, because you see me in the details. You see me. Yes, exactly. Right.
I see you in the details.
Right.
I see you as a planner, as somebody that's.
But you want to know where my energy comes from, though? It is in that vision casting. Like on these videos and stuff, when I talk about opening up walls and doing that, if I could do that all day long, my energy would stay really high. Yeah. Not that I don't like the details. It's just that's where my energy comes from.
I would say my energy comes from coffee. Coffee first thing in the morning. Like clients will call me, and I only drink 1 cup of coffee a day. That's it. It's in the morning. I mix protein.
Oh, good idea. Yeah.
And so if I don't have that, like people call me in the morning and I'm not focused, and they're just like, "Can I call you?" I was like, "Can I call you back when I get to work?" They're like, "That's probably the best thing because this is not Rob." I'm like,
"This isn't what Rob usually
is." This isn't what Rob is. And the clients will call me at 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning, on my drive to work, and I'm like, "Look, I can talk to you, and we can work through this, or you can let me get to work and get my mind focused, and then I'll have a better focus."
I am not bad in the morning.
Oh,
I'm a morning person. I wake up. My wife's
I'm happy.
Yeah, but I don't have the energy lack in the morning. No. When I have it, especially if I don't eat well during the day, is at 3:45.
Oh, no.
That's where I get killed.
I'm amped up at 3:45. See, I'm ready to get the day over with.
If you're talking coffee or energy drink or whatever it is.
I don't drink energy
drinks. But if I needed something, it'd be after that.
No.
That's for me.
At 3, I tell you what, I get more focused towards the end of the day. Like about 5 o'clock, I'm like a work hound. Like everybody's gone, it's quiet,
and you're getting it done.
And I'm just getting it done. Like if I know that I'm behind on stuff, I'll go home, I'll put Amberly in my lap, and I'll sit there on the computer and I'll bang out. I get reinvigorated around 9. So like for me, I would take my break from 5 to 9. Oh.
Hang out with the family, just relax, have a little 4-hour siesta, and then I'd come in, and people are like, "Why are you sending bids at midnight?" I don't know if they're thinking I'm working from 5 to midnight, but I'm not. I'm cutting it off at 5:30.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
You spend the time.
Yeah,
with the family.
And then I put them to bed, and then my wife and I may have some conversations or something, and then I'll say, "Hey, but I got to finish some stuff."
Yeah.
And then I'll get after it. So it's just it's different.
I'm just a little bit different. Like I cut it off at 7 o'clock. Usually now I'm more focused during the day and can get more stuff done. My team has grown significantly this week. I've got another assistant, so got another one coming in at the end of the month. So I have more time to do things like marketing and stuff like that to grow the business. Today I'm going out to meet Ehab at one of his students' projects. And I will tell you, there are times though where you have to balance that and say, 7 o'clock, that's my cutoff.
Yeah, it's good to have cutoffs. It's good to also, not just that, but just in general have boundaries around your mind space.
Yes.
Because if you're cutting it off, but you're not cutting it off.
I cut it off completely.
Yeah, I mean, there has to, and I'm not saying you don't.
And I have that feeling when I cut it off. I'm just like, now I have to focus.
Yeah, if you have to write some things down so you don't forget, that's one thing. But it's the people that then are just zombies.
Yeah.
That's gonna affect. I have one guy that
affects everything.
Everything, your family life, your sleep, your I mean, the anxiety tends to go up because you're dwelling as opposed to planning, right? But so I have this one guy that he mentioned. He said, and he and I, we worked together a few times, and then he was more of the hands-on kind of guy. He wanted to do it at a discount, and he bragged that he knew every aisle in Home Depot.
Oh wow.
And I was thinking, man, I'm not even going to say I know that because we have a process where I don't even have to go to Home Depot to pick up stuff for my clients. I mean, what are you doing? Yeah. Home Depot has delivery to your job site. What are you doing?
I know every aisle.
What are you doing? But if you like it, that's one thing I said. But fine, if you like it. But what I think happened, he liked it.
Yeah.
But then it became a requirement by the way he ran his business. And at that point, it wasn't fun anymore. It was a required job, and he missed things. So then he said, yeah, I like the Home Depot. I love being there. I love the environment. But now it's Saturday, and my girl's got a game, and I can't be there. I got to pick it. Because that's how
your priorities.
That's how he structured his business, was around the things he thought he'd like. But when it grew, it became more of a job. And that's really what I feel like people need to know their threshold. It's like, man, if you like those things, then still have people helping you, but just do them a little the way you like. If you like design elements, for instance, do some design elements, but don't make it all your job to do all the design of every single thing, right? Or you like being, let's say, even a realtor. But if it gets to a certain point, you may not be able to sell all your homes or do all that. I mean, if you grow your business, if you think in terms of long term, what is it that you want for your actual plan, not just what you like to do? Those are the things that really separate, I think, those that are very successful in this. You talk about building your team. Perfect example. I know you love what you do, Rob.
Oh, I love it.
And yet you're saying, I'm giving away some of the things I love because you get that you have to grow. This is the point.
You have to grow.
Right.
And growing, I will tell you this, and Alex, he knows this very well. Growing is one of the most uncomfortable things in the world for me. It is. But if it's uncomfortable, that means you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Because you have to have uncomfortability in order to grow. You've got to spread your wings.
Otherwise, it's the same stuff you've already done.
Yeah. Yes.
You get more of the same.
Exactly. And it's hard. It's hard for anybody. It's hard to take that first leap. And I will tell you, I'm a very structured person because of the military. I'm used to being around the same people all the time. I'm used to, which we have here at Jet Lending. You know? But when we bring new people, new atmospheres, new stuff like that, I mean, I was uncomfortable when we went to Stampede. Just because of the fact that I was comfortable at the Redneck Country Club.
You knew what to expect.
I knew what to expect. You know, but that's not a huge uncomfortability because Stampede's been awesome. If y'all do not know, and you're watching this at any time, next Wednesday, we have our super investor meeting. You come meet Elijah and his team. He is a sponsor. They will be there.
We will.
But I think it's time that we start talking about our product that we have together.
It's been really great.
It has, hasn't it?
Yeah, I feel like people who don't know about it, this is going to be very helpful. But just in general, what I get from the feedback is, I can't believe you guys are doing that.
Yeah.
That's kind of been the feedback. I can't believe that they're doing that. And here's the thing. Fast Track requires an upfront payment. And so the reasons why we do that are many, but just a few key ones are, we're never forced to do something out of order to get paid.
Okay.
That's one of the biggest ones that's valuable to everyone, because if you're a lender or you're a client or you're an investor and you have a contractor that has incentive to do something out of order to make sure that they're keeping up with their flow, it can be dangerous on the project.
Okay.
So that's been the key one. Outside of that, some things for us, we have more of our own money in the job before it's finished. So it's nice to have that mutual trust. So we can go faster. We trust everyone on our team, and we've kept the house because we don't have other people from an investor working on the house with us. We're turnkey, so we handle all of it. So we control the home at that point. So we buy a lot of the strong materials too, so that they're there ready when people need them. So if there is a hiccup on a schedule, now we can maybe make it up by having something else that's ready to go. These are all things that are very valuable. But with that upfront payment, and as the common customary thing where hard money lenders don't usually lend that Jet Lending has been saying, hey, we trust you. Let's go ahead and do it. Not only with the front payment, but without having to have those draw fees, which is amazing for people along the way. And we don't take too many draws anyway because we're only 4 payments. But and I think y'all are only a part of 3 of those, sometimes maybe 4, depending on how the job goes. Some people don't even do that last, because the final and the final are so close together. But yeah, it's been really great. People have felt like it's been very smooth. In fact, sometimes they're wondering what's going on with the job because they haven't been out there, and they're like, wow, you're already that far along. And they show up and it's amazing to them that you guys are killing it. And it's kind of a fun thing because they don't have to be as involved in the process.
So Elijah's talking about our no draw fast track loan. We started this about a year or two?
Maybe 2 years ago.
A
year and a half.
A lot of people just still don't know about it. They still don't. And when we talk about it, we've got it in our disclosures. We've got it out there. I'm gonna have to have you back several times because we've got to get this volume up. We got to get it up for people to know about our no draw fast track loan. And we're going to spend the next 20 minutes talking about this. So basically, if you hire a general contractor, Jet Lending requires that you go do a third of the repairs out of your own pocket, and we reimburse if you're using any general contractor other than fast track. That means you're automatically after you close your investment property, you are 1/3 of the repairs out of your own pocket. That can be expensive. It can.
It's more out of your pocket.
More out of your pocket. If you use fast track, we will advance the third to fast track directly, and that way when you close the loan, it's just, hey, easy breezy. When do I pick up my keys, basically, right?
You could be that hands-off if you wanted to. It can be that turnkey. There are people who have teams that buy the houses for them, that they only see it when it's done. You can be that way if you want to be, but if you want to be part of it, be part of it. It's just, the point is you don't have to.
And I always tell investors this, don't fall in love with your investment properties. There's so many people. I just talked to somebody this week, and they're probably going to watch this at some point in time. They're going to kill me, but I'm going to tell them. We had a conversation, very funny conversation. There's nothing wrong with this house. They won't need to buy it quick, and then they're going to turn it around and refinance it in a very short time. So we're going to close on it, and then there's no repairs that need to be done to this house. I mean, it's like perfect. It is in perfect shape. And they said, well, we're going to go in and change the lights. I'm like, why would you do that? It's a rental. Wow. I just don't like them.
Right.
I was like, let your renter change them if they want to. She's like, well, what if I don't like that? I was like, it's an investment property.
Yeah.
You don't fall in love with your investment properties. To a certain extent, you want them to look nice. You want them, it's your investment. But look, cookie cutter is the way to go.
And we talked about thresholds.
Yeah.
Different people are different in this. Some people, well, like for instance, if you've ever worked at a retail store, for instance, and you got a company discount. If you got used to that company discount, and then you quit, you moved on with your life, and then later on you went back to that store and you said, man, that's too high priced. And that was the way you thought about it because you're used to getting the employee discount.
Yes.
If that's your threshold, then you need to know that's going to affect your investment business. You're going to be thinking like that. You're going to be thinking about saving money. You're going to be thinking about your own personal tastes. You're going to be thinking about what you want more. And that's fine if that's your threshold, but you just need to know that about yourself because going forward, you're going to need to be talked out of some things. Because you're in the industry to make money. You're not in the industry to save money. You're in the industry to make smart decisions that make you money. You're not in the industry to make it all work for you. You can't live in all these homes anyway. And to be honest, most of them, if you fixed it up the way you'd want, you wouldn't live there anyway because it's not the home you want or the neighborhood you want. And so you're not even the client you should be asking.
Yeah. I mean, well, this is a new factor that I didn't know that you had started. Let's just say you hired Fast Track to remodel your own home. Okay. Let them do the cookie cutter, remodel.
The initial portion, and then you get some things that you get to pick.
Yeah, sure. But if you want to change, let's say you want a barn door in your,
which we do barn doors.
Oh, y'all do?
Yeah, we do.
I did not know.
I think we're a little higher in some of these finishes than you might remember because we used to be a little bit more neutral than we are now.
I did not know you.
Check out fasttrackremodeling.com.
I have got to get up to date.
And I got to watch Trigger Points.
Well, I had no clue that you did barn doors, but,
yes, we do.
But I'm using that as a reference. Let's just say you did do barn doors, and you wanted a custom barn door. Okay, get into the house and have somebody come do it custom. You do that, but I did not know that. There's other things that you can do.
I'll say the thing that is a little more custom than what we normally do. Okay, and that is if somebody wanted to. Let's say they wanted to do in their bathroom, they had a particular niche they wanted to do. And on the backside of that niche, they wanted to have some sort of custom marble design.
Yeah.
That would be a custom thing.
Yeah.
We would not typically do that. And then they wanted to import that custom tile from, Italy.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it takes 4 weeks. And so they're asking me, your tile guy, can he just wait, please? Because 4 weeks for this tile to come in. Is it all right if he just waits to do his stuff for us? So now it's not just the custom thing.
It's now delaying the process.
Right. And then I had someone else who was saying, hey, you've done 4x4 tiles before, right? Well, these aren't that much different. They're 4x8s.
Oh, that's
4x8s, that is
but it's different. You got to cut it different.
Yeah.
You got to lay it different.
Yeah. And I was thinking, no, that's not something I don't even know that my guy I'd trust doing that yet because we've never done it. So something like that would be less easy for me to say, let's go for the 4x8 tiles. 4 foot by 8 foot, by the way. We're not talking 4 inch by 8 inch. 4 foot by 8 foot. These are big.
Those days are gone.
These are big tiles, and we're going to be imported. So I'm thinking, okay. So if we can't come to terms on those things, I totally understand. I mean, you might have to go with a custom remodeler or have someone else finish that when we're done.
Yeah.
But as long as we can, if you could do something before we start or after we finish, no big deal.
Guys, and floors is a great opportunity. I mean, you could say, I want custom floors in this house. You can do all the remodel, and then you have somebody else come in and do the custom floors.
Yeah.
I mean, that's reasonable.
Right.
Especially if you want imported Italian.
Absolutely right. And some of that stuff is, I'm goofing a bit, but that was actually a real situation, was they were going to have it imported, these 4x8s.
Yeah. So back to the fast track, no draw loan. How many have you done for us? Do you have a count?
Because I don't always know when it's happening. Because this is what's great about Fast Track 2 having such a big team, is I don't even always know who the lender is on the deal.
Wow.
Because it's in place, and if I wanted to look at it, I could. But I don't have to see that.
I think we've done quite a few.
It's got to be dozens.
It's dozens people. I mean, especially new investors.
Right.
They take it and they just run with it. And the newer investors.
There's not a week that we don't at least have one going. I would say
at least one a week. So I mean, probably.
And those aren't jobs that finish in a week, right? But so that it's more than a dozen a year for sure. I mean, we're talking probably 60, 70 so far, I would think.
Yeah, and that's in 2 years. So if you're watching this and you've ever got a question about the fast track no draw loan with jet lending, you can call Elijah, you can call myself, you can call anybody on our team, and we could definitely go over the particulars. But it's amazing because it saves you money, and you a lot of, and forgive me for saying this, a lot of investors will approach this as a discount. You know, I've got a GC that will do this, and this. Yeah, but you got to pay that GC out of your pocket to get started. What you got to understand is that we're going to hold the entire repair budget in escrow for Elijah, and we'll advance him at closing the monies to get started.
Yeah, and sometimes the reason why there's GCs that are at a discount too is because they have less teams.
Yes.
And when you think about your investment business, you may be doing a lot for you, but you might not be doing enough to keep those teams always busy, possibly. And so to them, you may be one part, but to us, our jobs, the way we run them, are all going the same. We're hitting them the same.
Yeah.
And so it's not like any investor is seen differently, or I'm going to move things around on a job. We're gonna attack everything the same way, which is great. But furthermore, if you have that contractor and you say, hey, I'm ready with a new home, and they're on something else because they're just, now you do have some extra delays that were beyond what you thought.
Delays will kill you, and they will suck up your holding costs.
Yeah.
Quickly.
All the hidden costs, all the holding costs, all the fees every month. But then furthermore too, you could put yourself in a different season of selling as well, maybe if you're not careful.
Especially if you're buying it in January or December or November, you want to hit that timeline of I'm going to say April, May, June, July. Those are your peak seasons. I mean, right now, every month's a peak season.
And the way we look at it is we're going to hit it as fast as we can. And I know investors are buying all throughout the year. And what I found too is that with investors, because it isn't just the home I was living in and there's things that need to be done. These are things, typically everything's being touched to some degree. It's new paint, it's new flooring, usually on almost every home, usually a refresh. So these homes are at the peak. So even if they're being sold out of time, it's still usually a good, But if you're selling your own home, you might have issues if you're not fixing everything up. But you're right. If you're thinking about it, man, Rob, such a good point. I mean, if you can nail those timelines, if you can, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Typically, and people, like you said, investors are buying year round, and that right there is it's amazing how you can see, especially as a lender, the trends.
Yeah, the trends are probably very interesting.
They're very interesting. All of a sudden you're into mid-September, so that's when it starts picking back up. But our loan lag during the month of September is very, very low.
And I would say for us, probably if we're slow, would ever be in that January, February timeline, because
January is always a good month. December,
but when it's good, it's usually like we're doing a lot of bids, but we don't necessarily have as many jobs going yet because because people slow down around the holidays.
Yes.
And so then for us, we're about 32 to 4 weeks behind.
Well, we're closing a ton of loans during December.
But when you're closing them, then yes, that's true. A lot of those loans I know are refinance loans too, and other things. And so we do have that. But what I found is that the investors, like new investors in particular, the ones that are doing business, that are full-time especially, they're rocking it all the way through. And you're probably used to that because you have a lot of consistent investors doing that. But a lot of the newbies, they take the break. I mean, they go do their, and but in the new year we do more bids than we have as far as the volume of jobs going on. But we're talking 2 jobs less maybe as opposed to 20. Maybe we have 18 going on at a time or something like that. So it's not like a huge dip for us, but that is kind of a slightly slower moment we've found.
Yeah, September is usually a slow month for us, and March is kind of a slow month. This past March was not slow, but I don't know. COVID has thrown everything into like a blender, and like
there are opportunities though still, and that's
because we honestly thought that COVID was gonna. At first, we were like, this is gonna slow us down. People are not going to go look at houses, but man, we didn't miss a beat, not one beat.
Well, people were on their email looking at home. They were looking at the leads, right? They were looking at.
They were actually taking more time because they had more time to do it, and I guess
you're absolutely right. And not only that, they were probably looking for their own personal home, and then found some deals along the way too, and started getting interested.
Yeah.
Because people didn't like when they had to stay home. They didn't like their house.
Yeah.
And that's why I think a lot of folks wanted to move into something.
You know what? COVID was probably the worst thing for my household because it gave my wife all these wonderful ideas.
We're about to start a bathroom remodel over in my place.
I did a gym add-on. I call it a gym. It was a gym crafts room off of our media room. Oh man. I'm so glad that's over. I'm so glad it's over.
That's funny.
And my wife has said, "Look, no more projects.
Yeah, no more projects.
No more projects. We're done for a while."
Well, that's also why we want to work on vacant homes, because people do lose their will along the way as it progresses, and people think they'll be strong, but depending on how big the job is, it's like, man, well, if it's a small job, they say I could live here, but if it's a small job, you just have to hang with a friend for 2 weeks. Why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
But if it's a big job, it's like you shouldn't be there. The power's going to be off at times you don't want it to be. The water's going to be off at times you don't. There's dust, there's workers, there's loud sounds, there's things. It's disarray.
Yeah. So how do people get a hold of you?
They could go to our website, fasttrackremodeling.com. You can call our office, 832-742-9992. You could call me direct. If you're watching this, 281-794-1164, and I can help get you coordinated. But online is the easiest. We have a form you can fill out if you have a question. We have a form you can fill out if you've got want to get an appointment.
So let me ask you a couple of last questions. One, does the house have to be under contract to get a bid?
Yeah, we do still require that the house is under contract to do a bid.
Okay.
We do feel like that we're not as big of a help to people that try to run a contractor around town to analyze deals that way.
Okay.
So get some sort of quick estimating tool to help you.
Okay. And you have one.
Yeah. If you have an Apple product, Turnkey Estimates Pro has been and will continue to be very helpful.
Okay.
It's not on Android right now, but it is on. People who have it on Android still can use it, but it's not.
Everybody should be on Apple anyway. But Android, you Android people scare me. I don't know.
Android and us are working through something, but on Apple it's there.
Okay.
But some sort of quick estimating tool to help them.
Quick estimating tool. Awesome. What's some other things that you do not do so that
we don't do pools.
Don't do pools?
Unless it's a small portion of a flat roof on a main, we don't do flat roofs.
Okay, no flat roofs.
And typically we suggest that the people who are the investors or the homeowners or occupants, that they handle the landscaping themselves.
Landscape. Okay, don't do
being a middleman in there it can be troublesome.
Yes.
Landscapers are the cheapest when they're there on site.
Mm-hmm.
If they have to come back, it's more expensive.
Yes.
So they say, what about this hedge? What about that tree? And I don't want to be the middleman on that. So it's,
understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
Those are the three things.
Those are the three things. No pools. It has to be under contract. And
we suggest the landscape. I can do it, but yeah, we suggest they do
it. Me personally, I would want an expert for landscaping. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by an expert, somebody that can design it out.
Yeah.
Well, and it also depends on the level of property that we're talking about.
Yeah, because you don't do much, maybe some bed prep and maintenance on a low end. On a high end, you might do some more, but
yeah, you got to plan that out. Well, Elijah, I appreciate you coming on the show.
You too, man.
Sorry we had some technical difficulties. Elijah, I'm going to have you back because we were unprepared this morning. Everything was running crazy. So
I had a good time.
I did too. Hopefully
you did too.
Hopefully the sound is clear for everybody. And I apologize for the hiccups. But we will be back at a later date, probably in the fall, because I want everybody to come back and we need to talk about this more.
Sounds
that
good.
way we get the product out there. And everybody, Fast Track Remodeling, no draw loans with Jet Lending. Call me at 903-806-4400 if you want more information. Or Elijah, again, your phone number?
832, mine, 281-794-1164.
And he will give you the rundown, and I can give you the rundown, and we will close any no draw loan for you next week or today. Thanks for this episode of Trigger Points, and we will see y'all next week. Special guest coming, but it's a surprise.